I come to you from right outside the Parliament. It's day 17 of the winter session of the Parliament. 4 days to go for the winter session to end. And today, of course, brings the highlight of the session, the One Nation, One Polls. The bills related to this particular idea, this particular proposal are going to be introduced by the Law Minister today. That's going to happen in the Lok Sabha. This idea, we know, has been put in place. This is something that the BJP, the ruling party, is extremely particular about. It wants this agenda in the country. The Prime Minister has been speaking about it since 2014. Uninterrupted governance is seen as the intent behind this, but of course cost, convenience, administration are also seen as factors that have really pushed this idea. Opposition, of course, has rejected this. Remember, of the 47 parties that were asked for their opinion on this particular bill when it was when the Ramnath Kovind committee was drafting its report. There were 15 parties that completely opposed the idea. 32 were in support of it. We'll have to see how the BJP manages to shore up numbers. But what we understand is that the bill is going to be introduced. It will be sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. Sources have also told us that the government wants a lot of deliberation on this. All of this is going to play out in the Lok Sabha today. In the Rajya Sabha, usual business with the ongoing debate, discussion on the 75 glorious years of Indian Constitution. Yesterday, we saw Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman take on the Congress party. She, in fact, gave a detailed speech talking about all the amendments that the Congress party has introduced while it was in power. She spoke extensively about emergency. She spoke about opposition leaders who were jailed during then. She also spoke about the Shah Bano case, and she said that whenever the Congress party has brought in an amendment, it was only for the family's interest and not to strengthen democracy. Of course, she was countered by Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president. She was also countered by Abhishek Manu Singhvi. So all of that played out in the Rajya Sabha. Today, of course, JP Nadda, the BJP president, is also going to lead the debate. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, is expected to respond to this debate, and that is going to be another highlight today. We saw the Prime Minister respond to this debate in the Lok Sabha, and he made very critical points. In fact, if you talk to the opposition members, they have talked about how a lot of new facts have come into the domain, including that of how Jawaharlal Nehru felt about B.R. Ambedkar's induction in the cabinet and how it was Mahatma Gandhi who had to intervene. So a lot of historical aspects have been brought in. In some ways, the NDA has also used this opportunity to make the debate a lot more about the Constitution now on its own ability to safeguard the Constitution. Before I go across to my colleague Aishwarya, who's been tracking the Parliament for us, let's listen to what Rahul Gandhi said today.
Constitution में लिखा है prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth or any of them. और जहां भी आप जाते हो, एक धर्म को दूसरे धर्म से लड़ाते हो, नफरत फैलाते हो। कहां लिखा है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में? कहां लिखा है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कि एक धर्म को दूसरे धर्म से लड़ाना है? कहां लिखा है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कि दलित परिवार को बंद करके अंदर रखना है और उनके अपराधियों को बाहर घूमने देना है? कौन से कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा है? मुझे दिखाइए।
Aishwarya, my colleague, joins us with more details on this. Aishwarya, the ONOP bill, the One Nation, One Polls bills are going to be introduced today. Tell us what exactly is the government strategy with regard to One Nation, One Polls? Do we expect the JPC members, the names of these members to also be announced today? And also, will a lot of members get to speak like we saw when the Waqf bill was introduced?
Well, certainly what we are learning is that the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Congress and other major political parties in the lower house of the parliament issued whip to their MPs. They need to present in the house because yesterday it was government who decided to bring the Constitution 129th Amendment Bill 2024, which will be tabled by Union Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal. And certainly it is expected that he would be requesting the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla to send it to the Joint Parliamentary Committee for further scrutiny. As far as the members are concerned of the JPC, it will consist of both both from the lower house and from the upper house of the Parliament as well. But as we saw during the Waqf bill announcement, when Kiran Rijiju tabled it, it was of course several of the speakers were given a chance to speak it, but it was requested by the government itself that it should be sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee, and the same thing is something that we can witness today as well. But a very, very important, because the opposition had been cornering the government. They had lashed out to the Bharatiya Janata Party over describing it as a misplaced priority. In fact, the Trinamool Congress leadership also stated that this will murder the democracy. Today, in fact, it is Congress Member of Parliament Manish Tiwari who had sent out a notice which opposed this bill, and in this particular notice that he had submitted to the Lok Sabha Speaker, he had mentioned about how this violates the basic principles of the Constitution, how this will impact the Constitution validities, and also this will also demean the state governments as well. So several points had been mentioned in this particular notice. The opposition parties will take the government and want to corner the government over this bill, as several reactions had already poured in when the news came out that the government is planning to bring One Nation, One Bill after it got cleared from the cabinet just last week. But it will come down at around 12 noon, where Union Law Minister will be tabling it. On the other side, yes, of course, in the Rajya Sabha, we will be again witnessing those discussions on the glorious 75 years of the Constitution. Several speakers are lined up, including Bharatiya Janata Party President and the Leader of the House, JP Nadda, who would be initiating the debate. And finally, in the upper house, this will be concluded by Home Minister Amit Shah.
Today, Aishwarya, we'll keep coming back to you for more details. Remember that Congress leaders, Congress MPs, Vijay Vasant and Manikam Thakur, have already given adjournment notices to discuss the farmers' protest that has entered its 21st day. We also have Vijay Vasant actually giving adjournment notice to discuss unemployment. Manish Tiwari, like Aishwarya has also been pointing out, has given the same to discuss, to oppose ONOP. Now, One Nation, One Poll as an idea sounds quite idealistic. It sounds very positive, but of course opposition has said that this goes against the spirit of federalism, the spirit of democracy in India, and it will also reduce engagement between political parties and also voters. It will completely overhaul electoral reforms, but remember, we also live in a country where reforms in our electoral democracy have been discussed, and that is also seen as mandatory. Could this be one? Is it a rushed move? Is it reformative in nature? Does it need more discussion? All of that is going to be discussed in the JPC, which of course the bill will be sent to, is what we understand. To discuss more on this, we have with us Neerja Chaudhary, political analyst and also author, senior journalist. We have Amitabh Tiwari, also political analyst. Thank you all of you. Thank you both of you for joining me on this broadcast. Neerja ma'am, good morning to you. First of all, tell me, ma'am, what do you think will be the political, legal challenges in front of the BJP, because it does have a reduced mandate in the House. It does have majority when you combine the NDA numbers. But of course, the opposition is also strong. The opposition bench is also very strong. What kind of political problems do you see for the BJP to ensure that this bill gets cleared, if not now, then even later?
I think the first problem is that they don't have the two-thirds majority in Parliament, which is required to pass the bills. They are sending it, obviously, they plan to send it to a joint parliamentary committee for greater deliberation, as they have said. And also it will enable the country to discuss it much more thoroughly, which is what is required, because it's a very far-reaching bill. And the opposition has expressed very serious, very, very strong words have been used. Anti-democratic, it will change the politics of the country, it will affect federal spirit, and so on. But I've seen what Mamata Banerjee's party has said, what DMK has said, with the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin, having penned a piece also. So one, of course, is the lack of numbers, but sending it to the JPC may enable the ruling party to mobilize others who are not on their side at the moment. and convince them, persuade them, whatever. And the other part, of course, is politically the India bloc has been divided during this parliament session. They've been divided on the Adani issue. They've been divided on the whole issue of EVMs. And the regional parties seem to be creating a bloc of their own within the India bloc, with Mamata Banerjee pitching for the leadership of the India bloc. Now, this issue will unite them once more, because they've all come out very strongly. They see, huge ramifications of this move. And I think there are several factors here. One is the content and the intent. The second is the cost factor, which the BJP is talking about, that it will reduce the amount of money. But there again, you need to go into reduce the amount of money spent on facilitating on the security forces and manning the booths and so on. But there is the huge, humongous amount of money that's spent on election by political parties, by candidates. And that, how do you deal with that? Money power really affecting our elections. And then, of course, the logistics of it becomes easier, is what the government, and the policy paralysis they talk about. That, you're in a constant election mode. But I will just end here by saying that, the politicians and political parties have a way of looking at elections and what is convenient and what is not. For the Aam Janta, particularly if you go to the rural area, they will tell, first reaction many people have is, they won't come for 5 years to us. Nobody will come. Nobody will listen to us at all. At least now they come and we tell them this is our demand. Then they come 6 months or 8 months later. We tell them it's not been fulfilled and work is not started. That will all end. For 5 years, we'll see nobody's face. So that is a point of worry. Making the government accountable.
Amitabh Tiwari, right. Very important points raised by Neerja Chaudhary there. Amitabh Tiwari, if you also look at the critiques of this proposal, they feel that the spirit of democracy lies in the fact that every time people decide to throw away a government, elections need to be held, and they can't keep waiting for the synchronized schedule to be put in place. The other thing that they talk about is also local governance and how the local body polls cannot be held 100 days after the Assembly and Lok Sabha polls, because local governance also needs to be strengthened. And of course, with regard to the troops, mobilization, logistical challenges, which I'm sure in the next 10 years that there is enough time to procure that kind of EVMs and VVPATs. I want to ask you, why is the BJP so intent on this? Because it does talk about uninterrupted governance. There are huge advantages to this bill. But for the BJP, this has also become a reformative move. It's a move that will also become, a legacy-centric move for the BJP, something that it can own, something that it can really talk about as, as being reformative. Tell us, why is it so important for the BJP to bring the One Nation, One Polls? Is it the Prime Minister's vision that is driving this completely?
So, of course, one of the points is that the Prime Minister wants to be his legacy, the One Nation, One Election be his legacy. And the other most important factor is that the BJP wants to send a message of continuity. It wants to send a message that 2024 numbers, whatever they are not going to compromise on any of their ideological positions or Prime Minister's vision. And they have been strengthened by the recent Maharashtra and Haryana elections, and they will go ahead with their core agenda and ideological position. So that's the key message here. That's number one. Number two, the bill, of course, is a contentious bill. It needs very wider consultations. However, it is neither anti-democratic, it is neither anti-federal, because we used to have simultaneous polls by design, not but by accident, from 1952 to 1967. See, the main challenge or the main thing which the opposition feels is that the elections could be nationalized because of the One Nation, One Election. Because if you see the history of simultaneous polls from 1952 to 57, Congress used to win Lok Sabha 300, 350 seats and used to win across states in state elections. And even if you see the 4-5 states where there are simultaneous elections nowadays, which is Arunachal, Sikkim, Andhra and Odisha, we see the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha results mirroring each other. So globally also, wherever there is simultaneous election, the chances of these two results mirroring each other is fairly high. Now the key question is which election impacts the other? Does the Lok Sabha election becomes localized because of this, or the Vidhan Sabha election becomes nationalized because of this? One more thing is on the aspect of cost. Now, the entire 400 plus page report does not mention how much money will be saved. And even if we go by the number of or the amount which is spent on the uh, election process, the number or the amount of money which will be saved is peanuts by the standards of India's budget, which is 50 lakh crore plus. So it's largely the intangible benefits, which is policy paralysis, improved governance. For me, the biggest thing is that we see, and it has happened across. So we see the prime minister, the chief ministers, ministers of state campaigning for all the 30 state elections and the Lok Sabha election. So even if you aggregate all the hours which are spent by our ministers for campaigning, that would lead to a huge savings in terms of their time being spent on campaigning, and that could lead to improved governance. However, it needs much wider consultation.
Right. Neeta Chaudhary, when it comes to eclipsing of issues, we have approached Lok Sabha elections differently, we have approached assembly elections differently. A voter also is known to think differently before voting in these two elections. Like Amitabh Tiwari also pointed out, in the last few years, we've also seen mirroring of results, Lok Sabha results and assembly results, specifically with regard to Odisha and Andhra Pradesh, which were seen as states that vote differently in assembly polls and differently in Lok Sabha polls. But this time, both of them have voted for the BJP in huge numbers. How does the idea of one nation, one polls, how does that in some ways influence the voter, or in some ways, what is the prospect of this idea in influencing the Indian voter's mind with respect to his rights, his expectations from political parties?
I think, one nation, one election, it is the prime, I'm told the prime minister is very keen on it, and he may want to use it as a unifying tool for the country. Like we've had other, one nation, one tax, for instance. But many people, particularly in the south and maybe in the east also, worry about whether it's going to lead to further things. Will it be one nation, one party? And the opposition people have raised this question. And if you have a powerful leader like Narendra Modi and you have simultaneous elections, then the advantage of that will also accrue to the party in the state, which may not happen if the election is delinked. It may get more, with local issues coming to the fore. And state satraps, the regional party heads are worried about this, whether local issues, regional sentiments will get overshadowed by national rhetoric. And if you have a strong leader, popular leader like Narendra Modi, all the more so. Which may not happen otherwise. So all these are concerns, and really it needs, because it's a very far-reaching move. It needs a lot of discussion, not just in the JPC alone, but nationally. And I think the government too needs, and then the logistic part of it, if the election commission was not able to hold Jharkhand and Maharashtra election, the Haryana and Maharashtra elections together because of logistical reasons, then how are they going to do Lok Sabha as well as all the assemblies together, and 100 days later have local bodies election? I mean, it's a humongous exercise.
Right.
And we have been proud that elections in India on the whole have been free and fair, and violence has reduced over time. There was a time there used to be a lot of violence. So I think these are all factors that have to be gone into. A grand idea, the Prime Minister tends to go for, and it's a very good thing, to do things big. But the detailing also has to be done. If at all, and the reservations of the opposition taken into consideration and on board.
Right. Last word from you, Amitabh Tibari. Like Neerja ma'am said, the opposition is also using this as a unifying idea, while the Prime Minister also looks at the One Nation, One Election as something that can unify the nation, as many of the other ideas of the BJP under him has done. But when it comes to, prospects of opposition members joining the BJP in supporting this bill, when I talk to opposition MPs, they say, personally, I'm for this, but this is my party position. So clearly there are positives of this bill. Do you think this will, weigh over party concerns? Do you see more opposition party members in some ways agreeing with the BJP? Because in the last few days, we've also seen BSP, Mayawati agreeing to this idea. Do you feel that the BJP will succeed in shoring up numbers after these deliberations are done?
Yeah, I think like we saw in Article 370, however, it was not a two-third majority which was required at that point of time. I think the government, after the JPC and detailed discussions in the House, could get more members on its side. I think it could, rather than unifying the opposition, it could create a split in the opposition. The bigger challenge for the BJP will be to get some of these provisions required to be passed in the state assemblies also. And since there are 12 to 13 states where there are opposition parties in power, that could become tricky.
Right. Right. So that's an important point. Thank you, Amitabh Tibari. Completely out of time. Also, thank you, Neerja ma'am, for joining us this morning on the broadcast. It's an important day today, day 17 of the winter session of the Parliament. And today is the highlight because the One Nation, One Polls bills are about to come to the Lok Sabha. They're going to be introduced by Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal. They, of course, will be sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee. It'll be interesting to see who are the members, who are the MPs who are chosen to be part of the JPC and how these deliberations will start. In the Rajya Sabha, of course, we will witness a fiery debate between the opposition and the Treasury benches on the ongoing 75 years of the Indian Constitution. Amit Shah, Home Minister, is expected to speak today evening.